Hi guys, my name is Andreina Rojas, and today I'm going to be talking about my boards feature user story 2487. This is for the BreazeHome 4.0 application with product owner and mentor Dr. Masoud Sadjadi. So first I'm going to talk about how I implemented my user story using the software engineering practices discussed in the beginning of the semester. So my use case diagram here shows the user navigating through the results favorites page, and then here you see your favorite properties, and you can also add these properties to a board. The user can also go to the all the boards page, and here you get to see all the boards, create boards, or delete boards. If you click on a board, then you go into the board view where you can add to the board, delete properties in the board, or rename the board. Now the class diagram here shows the results favorite controller opening up the add to board modal, where here you can actually save into a board by creating a new one or adding to an existing one. This calls to the property services, where you can save to the board using the property ID, the board name, and the user ID. This goes into the BreazeHome API, where it posts this new board. Now in the all the boards controllers, here you can either click on a board, which will take you to the boards controller, where you have all the properties in that board, and you get these properties here. You get these properties, get properties in board in the property services, and then that gets it from the BreazeHome API. The boards controller also can edit an existing board. What this does is that you go into the properties to board modal. Here you can rename a board or you can save into a board. Here, both of these functions call into property services, and you go into rename the board or you can save into a board, which is that post that we talked about, and then the rename is this new get where the new name of the board, the existing name, and then the user ID. Then you can also delete a property in the board, which is delete property. When you need the board ID, the property ID, and the user ID. This goes into the BreazeHome API with a delete request. Then you can also, from the all the boards controller, you can create a board. And here you do so by board save again, and you post into the BreazeHome API, and you can delete board by using this function delete board here. Now, this is a sequence diagram. So the user home buyer goes into the results favorite page, and then goes into the add to boards modal, where you can save a property into a new board or an existing board, and this property service goes into the real estate BreazeHome API for the post request. Then the user can also go into the all the boards page. Here you get all the boards with the property service, and you get the JSON response, and then you get all the boards in this page. Then you can also click on a board, which takes you here to the boards page, and with the get properties in board, you go into the property service, which with the get, you get a JSON response, and then you get all the properties in the board. You can also, in this all boards page, create a new board using board save into the properties and then getting board post. You can also delete a board by using boards delete. In the boards page, you can edit an existing board going into the props to board modal. Here you can either rename a board or save a board. Renaming into a board in the properties goes into a get with the user ID, the existing board name, and the new name. The board save does a post request to the real estate API. You can also delete a property in a board by using the delete here. And that is the sequence diagram. Now I'm going to show you a short demo detailing all of this process and then I will show you my code. I forgot to mention that an important part of software engineering is using Mingle. Here in the Mingle sprint board for my favorite storyboard, I had to do a requirement analysis. I had to create a front-end service. I had to do the object design, which I showed you, create the use case diagram, which I showed you, create the API endpoint, learn about Django and AngularJS technology, and do the system design. All of this was done using to-do and development testing and done. Since I have finished the user story, all of my tasks are done. Now back to the demo. So here I have favorited these 3 properties. If you go into the favorites page, you will see your favorited properties. More information about the favorites feature can be found in a previous video of mine. Now, if you click on this add select button, you can add this property to either an existing board, I have boards A and B, or you can create a new board. So I'm going to create a new board. I'm going to call it C. So then here I can add this property has already been added to C. So let's go check it out. So this is the one that has already been added, 6225 Northwest 22nd Avenue. Now, in this page, I want to show you that you can also add to an existing board. I'm going to add 8253 Southwest 124th Street into board C. You can also select multiple boards. So now all the boards have this property, 8253 Southwest 124th Street. So now I'm going to go into the boards view. So these are all the boards that I have. I'm going to click on A, and here I have the property that I just added and this one that I had here before. I'm going to go back into board B. This one has all 3 properties. This one's the one that we had just added, and it had these 2 existing properties from before. And then board C, which I had already done with you guys. So back to all the boards page. Here you can create a new board. So here I'm going to call a new board. I'm going to call it D. I'm going to save the name. And now I can add as many properties as I want. So I'm going to add all 3 of them. So here's D. I'm going to go and click into D. So I have my 3 properties that I just added, and I can also remove them. I can remove each property with this X. So I just removed this last property. I can also edit the board by renaming it or adding new properties into it. So I'm going to add the one that I just deleted back into it to C. So it's back. I can also rename the board like I said. I'm going to call it E. So now this board is E. I'm going to go back to all my boards, and I have A, B, C, and E. I can delete this board now if I wanted to. So this is all the functionality that I have in my boards. I can unfavorite properties, like I showed you in the previous video, here, and also in the results page. So now I only have these 2 properties favorited. I'm going to unfavorite one, and now I only have one left. This only works based on the user. So the boards that I have, even though I deleted the properties from the favorites, are still going to be in my boards. These boards are only pertaining to this user, ar@gmail.com. If I were to log out and then log in with a new account, let me make sure I'm logged in. Okay, I'm logged in. Yes, as Andre Rojas R. And this user actually had these two properties favorited. Here, the boards are none because this user doesn't have any boards. So this is the boards list. As you can see, the only user that has boards is user number 4. And this user that I am currently viewing is user number 2. So this is the end of my demo, and now I'm going to show you my code. So it starts at the results favorite page. So here at results favorite, you can select a property using the Graphical plus sign, and then you go into select property to board. This opens up a modal called add to board, which we will open up now. Okay, so here, let me actually close this out. So add to board is a modal that allows you to name your new board, to create a board, and also if you want to add that property to existing boards. So if you want to create a new board, you would click on this create board button, and then with this graphical plus sign, and that would open up the toggle, which is this. And then it says for you to do the create board parameter name, and then you would create a board. So let's go into that here. So here's where you create a board. So to create a board, you go into properties.board_save, create board parameter name, and then property ID, which is what we passed into the modal when we called it in results fav. Okay, so then here we can add to the board, and then here you see that the toggle opens and closes the showing. You can also select different properties to add to the board. So it's with this checked unchecked sign. So it goes into select to board. Here, select board. So then if the board is not selected, then it goes into board save with the name and the property ID, the name of the board and the property ID that was passed into the modal. So then let's open up the properties controller in the properties service. So this is the board save that goes into boards, and it's a post. And then the other one was board save. Yeah, so it's just board save for both. Okay, so then let's go into the backend to see what that looks like. So the board's model is the name, the user, and the property ID. The view is this view set here. And you can save into the board here with board save with this post request. Okay, so then let's go into the boards, all the boards view. So I'm going to open up the controller, all boards, and the view. So here's where you can select properties to add to a board. You can select where you can select if you want to create a board or if you want to delete a board. So here, if you click on the remove icon, you select the board in order to remove it. And this is the properties delete board, which calls the view delete board. Now, if you want to create a board, then it opens up this button. This button opens up the modal, select property to board. So let's go into this function to see what the modal looks like. So select property to board, passes the board name into props to board. So let's open up that modal. Okay, so props to board allows you to create your new board with a name, save the name, and then select properties into it. So here it shows that you can select a property to save it into the existing board name if you have one. Or now, because we're creating a new board in the all boards page, whenever a user clicks on create board button, the board name passed into the modal will be null. So then every time that the user writes in a new board name and saves it, then that board name will be passed into the properties that they add into. Now, the reason that I did that is because in the boards page here, you can add a property into the existing board. So because in the boards page, you already know what board you're in, every time that you call props to board when you're selecting a property, the parameter won't be null. So here, when you're selecting a property to a board, you go into the modal props to board, and the board name will be actually the name of the board because you're already inside of a board. Now in here, you can also delete a property in a board. And this happens when the user clicks on the remove icon, delete property in board. So this is delete property in board, which is in properties, and calls the view delete property board. Now, also in the boards page, you can rename your board. So the way that happens is that in props to board, if the name is not null and you're clicking on create board, then it will rename the board. So basically here, when you are adding the input into the new board name and you click enter to save the name, you're actually renaming the board in the board's view, because since the parameter passed into the props to board is not null, whenever you save that new name, it renames the board. So it actually goes into this function here, where then it takes you into the URL with the new board name. And that's basically all you can do with this feature. Now, if you have any questions, please feel free to contact either me at arojas108@fiu.edu or Dr. Masoud Sadjadi at cs.fiu.edu.